Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Item number 3, awards and recognition.
All right, we are starting off with some student recognition tonight. Great Crossing High School, their first athletic state championship comes from their bowling team. Their KHSAA bowling tournament for their unified team event. Audrey Quinn and Alexander Elam participated and won that championship. Out of 14 teams, they seeded 9th, but then they worked their way through it, and they won the entire thing. So these are 2 of the 9 total bowlers on this team, coached by Todd Miller and Carl Goodpasture. I saw Mr. Goodpasture back there. I don't know if is Mr. Miller back there as well? Okay, all right, good deal, good deal. If you all don't mind coming up, let's give these guys a round of applause. Audrey Quinn and Alexander Elam. Next up, we've got some staff recognition. We've been working in conjunction with our Scott County Education Association, and we have recognition for some staff. We're going to start with Mrs. Christina Burke. Mrs. Burke, husband of Steve Burke, who I remember from school back in the day. She's been a teacher at GMS for 23 years, and during her time at GMS, she served as the health teacher, the dance coach, and the encore team leader. She engages her students in health classes in a variety of ways, including inviting guest speakers into her class to make her lessons come to life. She works hard to engage students in learning and making decisions that will keep them healthy and strong. She also teaches important life-saving skills such as CPR and first aid. Mrs. Burke takes time to share conversations with students and allows them to ask questions that are important to them. She focuses on student-led instruction, and she truly represents what being a Buffalo is all about, doing what she can each day to help her students be successful in school and in life. The school considers itself blessed to have her on their team. Congratulations, Mrs. Christina Burke from Georgetown Middle School. And that was Mr. Andrew Bagoon representing the SCEA with that presentation. And we have one more presentation, another staff member from Scott County Preschool, Mr. Clyde Wilkins. Mr. Clyde Wilkins has, and I didn't mention, I think, is Mr. Pickerel, you back there? I thought you were back there somewhere, so yeah, we had some guests there as well for Mrs. Burke. We've got some guests here as well for Mr. Wilkins. I believe he's got Mrs. Jeannie Burkhead that works with him and Mrs. Walrod that works with him as well. Came to see him off, so just want to share a little bit about Mr. Wilkins. During virtual instruction, Clyde Wilkins managed an almost impossible feat as he kept preschool students engaged for the duration of their scheduled Zoom meetings. His students were eager to answer questions and actively participated in games that supported their learning. He's described as a once-in-a-lifetime teacher. Some are blessed beyond measure when they have him more than one time, like board member Stephanie Powers. Ms. Powers has shared with me that Mr. Wilkins loved and cared for both of her children and supported the family through some very difficult times. While caring for our youngest learners, He also encourages new parents as they themselves adjust to school. It's been said that there is no one that has a bigger heart than preschool teacher Clyde Wilkins. Tonight we celebrate Mr. Wilkins and his dedication to Scott County Preschool, his students, and their families. And again, thanks to SCEA for partnering with us to recognize Mr. Wilkins. At this time, Mr. Wilkins, if you wouldn't mind, come on up. Recognition.
Thank you so much, and congratulations, guys. Later.
Miss Walrod, where are you going?
I'm sorry, I've got something to do.
Mr. Wilkins asked me to try and keep her on the hook. Hang her on, keep her in here for the last part of the meeting.
Okay, number 4, agenda approval. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, public comment. Andrea Burgoon, is that correct? Andrew, I'm so sorry.
I've got that head right.
Oh, God. I thought that was an A. I'm so sorry. Well, welcome.
Thank you. Here.
Yes, yes.
Oh, my God.
Thank you, members of the board and Superintendent Barker. I'm Andrew Burgoon, Vice President of Scott County Education Association. Today I'm speaking on behalf of teachers who have been adversely affected by COVID this school year, specifically those who have been infected or quarantined due to exposure to COVID. Last school year, Scott County Schools covered COVID-related employee absences. This is appropriate when employers ask employees to work in high-risk environments for 40 hours a week. At the beginning of this school year, that policy was dropped in hopeful thinking that COVID was behind us. The Delta and Omicron waves proved that that assumption was incorrect. Adjacent counties with whom we compete for employees have either kept the policy in place or reinstituted a policy in order to make their employees whole. The Scott County Education Association has provided the board with data and testimony on how this issue has negatively impacted a large number of Scott County educators. As you can see from the data provided, Scott County educators overwhelmingly support COVID relief. We ask that you provide up to 10 days of COVID relief days for employees impacted by COVID infection or quarantine during the course of the school year. We ask that you act before the spring hiring season so that we can retain these employees. While there will be a statewide educator shortage this year, it will be felt the hardest in areas where teachers don't feel that they are supported. Scott County educators have been working hard in adverse conditions to keep our students safe and to keep instruction in person. They should not bear the financial burden of infection or quarantine. This is the reason why the federal government has provided $16 million in ESSER funding to the district. Now is the time to put these funds to their intended use to support Scott County educators. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Number 6, consent agenda items 6A through J.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 7, approve surplus item.
Move. Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 8, student achievement report. Good evening.
Hi.
How are you?
Tonight we will be sharing with you our winter learning walk data as occurred in January and February. You will see on the first slide here our learning goals and success criteria, what we were looking for, are they posted, accessible, and for students' use, and you will see from the fall to the winter we had a very big increase. In the fall, only 32.3% of the learning goals and success criteria were seen, and in the winter, that increased to 66.4%. We decreased from not posted in the fall 23.2% to in the winter only 11.5% of the classrooms we saw did not have them posted. The two little bars in the middle, if you remember, Paul talked to you about how we adjusted the Learning Walk tool. So the second one there is just a learning goal was posted without the success criteria. We saw that in 13.9% of classes, and the other one only the success criteria was posted, and we saw that in 8.2% of the classroom. So we're very pleased that we're seeing such an increase in the posting and usage of the success criteria. In alignment with the map, 86.3. So that's an increase as well from in the fall. And when we say in alignment with the curriculum map, we mean they are actually using the learning goal success criteria that's listed in the map on their board and their walls. In alignment with instruction, so with that we also look to see is what's being taught today in alignment with what the learning goal success criteria says it is. And that was a 94.6%, which we were very, very pleased about. Formative assessment, 72.1% of the time we saw formative assessment. Most of the time, it seemed like the majority of the time we were in the classrooms at the beginning. And so we were able to see formative assessment right off the bat there at the beginning of the classrooms. And they were also aligned, the formative assessment pieces, to the learning goal and success criteria, 75.9% of the time. Quality of formative assessment, 38.6% was whole group data given to the teacher responded for the whole group, and then 61.4% of the time it was individual data that was useful for each student. We wanted to show you some pictures of what a learning goal and success criteria board looks like. So there you see learning goals, and then you'll see the success criteria as well on the side. Here's another one, they call it the focus wall here. Another one with we are learning to identify the main purpose of a text. And their I can statement is the success criteria. You see where that's also tied in with the daily agenda. This is from a kindergarten classroom. It's one of my favorites because it actually says at the very top their class goal is we will be first grade readers, become first grade readers. I thought that was really cool. And they actually talked about that during class. That's their goal. So where we are currently with the implementation of our recovery components, learning goals, success criteria, and formative assessment, we are in the second stage, which is implementation. And we will be moving hopefully to results where we will start looking at data to see what impact this has had on student learning as we move forward. So from the data we have collected, our next steps, we want to look for exemplars of students using success criteria in the classroom. We will also be providing professional learning on students using that success criteria to progress monitor their own learning. We will identify effective usage of formative assessment that provides individual student feedback. We will compare assessment data from fall to spring to check for impact on student learning and continue to monitor the implementation of recovery learning components. That's it for the learning walk.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our professional learning planning right now. The document that I got to you, just so you know, that is our internal planning document as we're working through. So when you see things on there, you're like, oh, I see that Morris Chapel is going to present. Well, he actually, I don't know that he even knows that we were thinking about. Okay, good. So we, but right, yes. But that's we're working through that, trying to identify people who are going to be working. But I want to tell you more about the process that we've gone through this year, because we started off really wanting to get feedback from teachers, because this is for them. So we started off with a survey that we sent to all of Scott County teachers. Got a lot of good ideas back, a lot of feedback on specific things that they would like to see. And so we took that and started to put that into motion. We took their ideas. We also took the CIAS team, and we're led through a process by Kim and Harper that helped us identify priority areas for elementary, for middle, and for high school. And we were able to boil those down to about 4 or 5 top suggestions for those areas. And then we took the OSL team and went through another similar one where we combined the survey data, we combined the CIAS data, and kind of our own input as well, and came up with the list that you kind of see right now. And so what we're really looking toward doing is getting to a point where we feel like we have a good 5-year professional learning plan for our district. We know that there are going to be some core things that we do every year, but we also know that there's some things that we're going to do this year that we're going to build on the next year and build on the next year and so forth. What we're trying to get to is a point where we can say, this is what we expect of a Scott County teacher. So that we can say we're going to support them in, for instance, if you're a primary teacher in Scott County, we expect you to be doing guided reading and structured literacy, and combine those two together well to grow your students in the area of reading. And same with middle and high school. We'll have things that we expect to see everywhere we go in our district. So that's kind of where we're building toward. You'll see when you look through the list, there are some of those things that, I mean, we've been doing guided reading trainings now for several years, and we're going to continue to do those. Eventually, we hope that those could get kind of moved down to the school level where there's enough expertise there, and we don't have to do them all the time at the district level. But some of the other ones that came up, for instance, APL came up. Susan, you probably remember APL going through here, Stephanie maybe too, right? So we've been working with trying to get APL. That's a very difficult task right now, but we're trying to get that in here for them. If we can't do something like that, we'll do something related. Other things like trauma-informed care, which we started down that road a couple of years ago, and we want to continue that process. So we're going to make sure that we get trauma-informed care back. One of the interesting ones that came up was communicating effectively with families. That's really come out as a thing that teachers want. I think especially some of our newer teachers struggle with how do we communicate with families in a way that is non-threatening. They often, think if a teacher calls and says there's something bad going on, but we want to be able to really enhance the communication back and forth between school and classroom. You'll also see things like vocabulary strategy, scaffolding. That's our next step in recovery learning. There's a lot of our technology that's in here, Pear Deck, and a lot of the programs that we have will continue to train on those. Dyslexia was another one that has come up, and we've heard that you've heard it. We've all heard that that's something that we need, and teachers agree that this is something they need to know more about. So we're investigating ways to have a quality training for that. The online module, that there's a potential for that, and we're looking at different sources for those things. But really we have taken what we think was a lot of input and feedback and quality responses from all groups and really gone through a process to identify some things that we need. We are very excited about being able to do, hopefully, in-person training again with big groups and do some fun and exciting things to enhance that this summer.
Wonderful. Yeah, I like that you all got that input back from teachers.
And we had a good number of them give us feedback too. We left it open-ended as well, so we have a lot of different things that they suggested. Yeah.
And I'm hearing some good feedback from the schools that, you know, they appreciate you guys being in the building and, you know, really checking in on everything. So I'm getting a lot of good comments myself on that. So
Good.
thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Our pleasure. That's part of our job.
Well, thank you very much. Number 9, approve 2022 graduation dates and times for Phoenix Horizon Community, Scott County High School, and Great Crossing High School.
Move.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 10, first reading of policy 08.113, revised graduation requirements. Number 11, approve annual certified evaluation plan, CEP, for 2022-2023 school year.
Move. Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Approve employer acceptance agreement between Kentucky Community and Technology College System and the Scott County School Board.
Move. Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 13, approve corporation contract between Great Crossing High School and Unite.
Move. Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries.
That's a great program.
Number 14, approve contract for Presence Learning for Speech Language Pathologist at Creekside Elementary for the remainder of the 2021-2022 school year.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 15, approve additional semester UK dual credit course at Elkhorn Crossing School for the 2022-2023 school year.
Move.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 16, renew diesel and gasoline bid for the fiscal year 2022-2023.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 17, renew bid for trash, garbage pickup, and disposal, for fiscal year 2022-2023.
Move. Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 18, renew bid for pest control services for fiscal year 2022-2023.
Move. Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 19, renew depository and investment banking bid for fiscal year 2022-2023.
Move. Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 20, renewal of bids for general maintenance bid for fiscal year 2022-2023.
Move. Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 21, renew awarded bid for financial audit for fiscal year 2022.
Move. Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 22, approve 2022 capital funds request.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 23, financial reports.
Yes, we got the report for February for you all. Our beginning cash balance was $28.1 million. We had receipts of $6.6 million, expenditures of $6.9 million, leaving our ending cash balance at $28.1 million. Any questions?
No. Thank you, Gina. Number 24, approve current bills.
No.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 25, approve waiver request to Kentucky Department of Education and the Kentucky Board of Education regarding the 2008 Kentucky School Facilities Planning Manual.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
I got a question.
Yes.
We still gonna get 2 bids, right? You, at the end of all this, once you get this done, this doesn't change how your bid package is done.
So currently, no.
Okay.
Currently, no. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the way that this works out, so if the board were to approve this waiver request, then that goes to the state board. It'll be on the state board agenda for April 20th. April 20th, I'll be there to whatever.
Answer any question.
That's right. That's
Whatever.
right. And then, assuming that they approve it, then at that point.
I just remember in the past, I thought we still had those, when everything went out to bid, you still ended up with 2 bids. Back, I think.
What I recall, so what I remember from like Red Crossing High School
Right,
specifically, was that was more, I thought it was more due to the fact that we didn't have the plans for the athletic components ready.
Yeah.
So that's why it was teased out the way that it was. But I think that that's not uncharacteristic for that to be on the backside. So, but we're in historic territory now too, because they're allowing these waiver requests to be granted. So if the waiver request is granted, it might be something that we would, come back to the table and talk about. So that, again, we have to revise the Region 1 if we
Right.
wanted to go that route.
Right, yeah, we just gotta get this past them first.
Yep, yep, yep.
Always takes a minute.
Yep.
All
You got a
right.
motion and a second? In case I confused you.
Pardon me?
You got a motion and a second.
Thank you. All right, all in favor?
Uh,
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 26, superintendent's report.
All right, so we had some donations this month that are going to be really helpful. I'm really excited about being able to offer our valedictorians some additional scholarships. We've also got some opportunities that I'm hoping that this grows into a more people being involved, but we've got a situation where we've got teachers that are giving back and trying to give back to teachers, and I'm really excited about being able to share all that. And I'll do that next week at our DLT. Got moved from this Tuesday to next Tuesday, so I'll share that with principals first to make sure that they're aware of that. But again, the Teachers to Teachers grant, and it might change name, but the way it currently is looking is it's just an opportunity for staff that are interested in doing something that maybe require a little bit of funds. They just give us a very simple, right now it's a really simple Google form, and they just kind of give us some details about what they're doing, and then from there we're able to pick a select few that they're going to be rewarded with that, and then off they go. And I've been in other districts that have similar types of projects out there, and once people catch on and realize what a boon it can be for them, they just, it's really, it's a neat thing. It's a neat thing for sure. Under strategic leadership, I had a lot of discussions the past few weeks since our last meeting, talking about one-to-one. As you all know, we've got a grant in which we will be able to just kind of snap our fingers and start the school year out one-to-one with students and technology devices, their laptops or Chromebooks. And we're really trying to be thoughtful about how we maintain that. Because it's not something you can just, that's one-time money, and we want to make sure we're able to maximize the fact that we're put in a good situation with that. So we're really thinking through and talking to other districts that are already there and what they've got in place to help make that something that we can continue down the path of. Online Academy, that's another thing that we're really looking really closely at, and again, that might be just a fraction of our county that would be interested in that, but at any rate, it's something that I really do feel like it's something we've got to offer. So we're looking at the best way to set that up. I had a great conversation this week with Scott County High School with Mrs. Gabehart and talking through high school scheduling, and ironically had a conversation with someone totally different from a totally different community, and that high school considered some changes similar to what we're considering, and they did it, I think, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and they said, that's the exact reason we went to it, is just trying to look at finding more opportunities for kids, because the current 6-period day, it sometimes is limited with all the requirements, the
Right.
state requirements for graduation that exist.
Makes it a little tougher.
Yeah.
Makes it tough for kids to explore
Yeah.
things. choices other than the basic requirements.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this will give them a little more latitude to get into certain other areas.
Had a conversation today too, unrelated to this, just with a business leader, and we were talking through some, maybe some opportunities that we don't have that they'd like to see, and we got to talking through this piece, because they weren't aware that it's not as simple as just saying we want to offer X, Y, or Z. We've got to have a framework in place that really supports that for students. Instructional leadership, we had Collab Day the day after our board meeting, and that went off very well. We had Dr. Cleveland back in the house, and he was able to get with another group of staff, and we had a lot of work going on in our schools on Collab Day. Site visits have continued on. Tomorrow I think I'll finish my last two, with the exception of one that had to be rescheduled due to some situations that the principal was dealing with that were unavoidable. So we'll probably get that finished up as soon as they get back. But those have been really welcome. Played a ukulele today. Where you at, Deborah? Yeah, we played a ukulele today. So Deborah's not proof on that. I hope she didn't take pictures.
I did take a picture.
Oh, you did?
Whoops.
All right.
Did you get a video?
There we go. Cat's out of the bag. But anyway, site visits have been going really well, and it's been really nice to see what our students are able to demonstrate as far as their learning. Cultural leadership participated in Read Across America Week at Creekside Elementary, and a lot of times you go to those things and it's a kindergarten class, and you're in the library, and you get to come to the carpet. And this was a 5th grade class in the afternoon, so but it was good. It looked a little different than your typical, but I make sure to use proximity as I worked the room with my story. But I had a good time with them, and they really seemed to be receptive to it. Also under cultural leadership, I was having lunch at the American Legion with my dad, and a gentleman, Gary Ward, came up to me and he said, I just wanted to reach out and show my appreciation for the work that Phoenix Horizon did with their project where they, on Veterans Day, provided meals. So he ended up getting him connected with Mrs. Rice. I think he's already done it at this point. He was going to go over there. They have it scheduled if it hasn't already happened, but he was going to go over there and meet with some kids and just talk through some of his life experiences. And just a reflection to me, I thought that was important because, it's an example of something where kid generated, they reached out to the community, and now we're seeing that kind of reciprocated. And that wasn't the intention, but certainly welcome. Human resource leadership, continuing with the assistant superintendent of student learning, filling that position and investigating all the applicants that we've got out there, and I've been really pleased with our options at this point. Managerial leadership allocation meetings, I can't tell you the number of, particularly at the elementary level, the principals that were like, thank you, board, for the help of the interventionists, because that just was something that they were really struggling with, and definitely were appreciative of that. Collaborative leadership, I went on Monday. This is my second board meeting of the week, in case y'all didn't know. I was in Franklin County for their board meeting Monday. Went there that afternoon, spent some time with Superintendent Kopp, and we just talked through a variety of different things, and again stayed to see how the board meeting went, and it looked a lot like it did when I'd been there all those years ago. So it was a nice little chance to see people that I hadn't seen in quite some time. And you all also are aware of the KSBA conference. We had an opportunity to collaborate with other district leaders and other board members from across the state, and that was I felt very beneficial. And from talking to you guys, it was something that you all got a lot of as well. And last, influential leadership. I could have put on their communication with legislators, because I've had some text messages back and forth this week about various bills. But the KDE waiver preparations, that's been something I've been really pleased. I sometimes can get frustrated with different folks that you have to work with, but Shay Ritter with KDE has been exceptional with really making sure that we had everything we needed on our end to put us in a position to be successful when we submit that. So that would conclude my superintendent report.
Good, wonderful, thank you. Board comments. Susan, would you like to start?
Well, we have anything, we had a great experience at the conference, glad to be back after missing last year, and nice, like Mr. Parker said, to see people want to stay and check in with everybody. It's been a while.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Stephanie?
I'll echo what Susan said about the conference, and this Friday I had a great day. I volunteered at GARD. I didn't do anything extraordinary. I simply glued directional posters on a poster board for they were hosting the Governor's Cup. But it was great. Got to get in there and do hands-on stuff. Felt like I was helping, and just being in that building always makes me happy. So, and any principals that ever need help, call me. Always want help.
Post the region is, nobody ever looks forward to it. It's nice, but it's, you don't ever look forward to it.
Yeah. So it was a fun day. Yeah, I was glad that they opened the door for me.
Like, I know you jumped in and helped in a couple little situations, so
Yeah.
I'm sure they appreciated it.
Yeah.
Kevin?
I guess the only thing I have is whoever came up with the contract between us and Unite over that driving deal, I think it's great. I think it needed, just pass that on to whoever.
Well, and a little aside too, I don't know, I think I might have put it in my notes when we talked about it, free of charge because of some connections that we have with some people that are
Oh,
providing.
that's great.
Yeah, so it was just I mean, how could you say?
Yeah.
Can't say
Hey, you
anyway.
can't turn that down. You know, you was talking about the schedule earlier, well, that, back in my old days, you had driver's ed sort of thing, and, you know, that was cool, but the schedule wasn't what it is today, so I'm just glad to see that take place.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to mention again, and Billy mentioned it in his report, putting together and looking at the information, the funding, what it's going to take to have the manpower to do, you know, the one-to-one. It's a big task, and I think we realized in the past couple of years how much I guess it's needed. You know, we were really caught with the pandemic, and I've been telling people through COVID, and when we really just hit the ground running, when we knew when the schools closed down, we put Wi-Fi on the outside of our buildings. We got hotspots for children. Joe Pat was jumping into what do we need to do for our county to get connectivity out there to everybody because it's such a struggle for kids. You know, regardless of us having computers, kids weren't going to be able to use them from their home. So I'm really proud that, you know, everybody is stepping up to work together as a community. It's a big project. I know everybody talks about our ESSER funds, but this is something that we're going to have to sustain year after year after year. And what manpower is needed and what do we need to do to get a really good jumping off point, but also to be able to create and move forward with that. So I really appreciate that with everything that you guys have done. Gina, I know you're constantly looking at our finances and what we can do and what we can't do. So I just wanted to say a big thank you. It's a big project, and to everybody else in our technology department. So just wanted to bring that up again. Stephanie, I know that's something you've been screaming from the mountaintops.
For years.
So
years.
I'll add that in because we'll keep on hearing that from Stephanie.
Yeah, I'll never quit.
But a great big thank you to everybody for all your hard work. So still a long way to go, but glad we're heading in that direction. That concludes our board comments for this evening. Number 28, move to closed session pursuant to KRS 61.810, 1F to discuss student disciplinary matter. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries.
Now we have to read.
Yeah, move to reconvene the regular monthly meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to expel Scott County High School student addressed in closed session for 1 calendar year with services and with authorization for superintendent to lift student's expulsion at the end of the 2021-22 school year. If student provides satisfactory proof of participation in counseling with a licensed or certified professional from now until then.
All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 31.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
We're going to sit here on that. Yeah, second.
All in favor?
None of us have-
Those opposed? Motion carries. Good night, everybody. Thank you.